Hi folks, Sty North here. Time for a Sty story. Trying to squeeze some videos in. My work schedule has been just nuts. Yeah, I got a part-time job, and lately it's been day on, day off, day on, day off. And then on my days off, they call me in. Um, yeah, it's pretty full-time, part-time. Um, so I'm trying to squeeze some videos in while I can. And spring's coming. I'll be getting outdoors. We're going to be doing a lot of hiking and exploring this spring and summer. Um, and they're going to loosen up my schedule a little bit. And so let's get on with Sty Story. This one I'm calling Thar She Blows. Okay. Now this goes back when I lived out in northwestern Montana. I worked for a company out there that did exploratory drilling, and excuse me. And what we did was we'd go way up in the backcountry and set up a drill rig, and we'd drill a hole in the ground about 2.5 inches around, anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 feet deep. And what it was for was to explore for silver deposits. And these locations that we did our drilling at were very remote, very remote. Some of them you could drive into, some of them they had to airlift you into with a helicopter. Well, we were on this one rig, and a typical crew was 2 to 3 men on the crew. And you had a driller, the driller's helper, and a water truck driver who made sure that we had these huge tanks that made sure that they were full of water all the time. And we had what we called a mud tank, where we mixed a silicon mixture that lubricated the drill as we drilled. And so that was the job I was doing at this time where this story takes place. Was I was driving the water truck, and I had to drive about 6 miles through these old forest logging roads way up in the backcountry, actually, to an artesian spring, and fill that water truck. There's a big water truck. If I recall, it hauled 400 gallons. Was it 400? It was 400 to 600 gallons. And it was a big Army deuce and a half with a big tank on it. And we had hired a new driller's helper, and my driller on the rig, he's the top boss, didn't much care for the guy. He said he wasn't too bright. I said, well, see how he works out. I said, if he doesn't work out, I'll take the driller's helper's position, find somebody to drive the water truck. And he said, well, let's try the guy out. So this guy's first shift on the rig, well, we worked 12-hour shifts. There were 2 teams, and we'd rotate every 12 hours. And his first shift, he comes up there and he rides with us up to the rig, and come around dinner time, he's brown bagging it. He's got a big brown paper bag full of sandwiches for his dinner. And he asked what we usually ate for dinner. I said, well, I'm having a big Hungry Man TV dinner. He said, how can you have a TV dinner up here? There's no electricity. There's not, you can't, there's no oven or anything. Well, what we had was we had this big coal stove. And all it is a bunch of big cast iron rings that stack on top of each other. And you fill that thing half full of coal, throw a little fuel oil in it, get it going. and you just keep adding coal to it. And that's the only source of heat we had up on that rig. And mind you, we're drilling in the late fall, and it would snow every couple of days or so. And so we had that coal stove going all the time. I told him, I said, what you do is you get yourself one of those frozen TV dinners, and you just take two of these big wrenches that we had up at the rig, put them on top of that coal stove, set your TV dinner on there, and in about a half an hour, your TV dinner's done. Just like you put it in the oven. He thought that was pretty cool, and we told him, oh yeah, we've heated up all kinds of things on there. Cans of beans, cans of stew. Yeah, you can heat just about anything on it. He said, well, that's neat. He says, I'd much rather eat something hot than cold sandwiches up here when it's so cold. And we thought, well, he'll take our advice and eat like we do. Well, the next shift, the following shift, I was hauling water, and I came up to the rig with a full tank of water, and I walked up to the drilling deck, and the driller's busy. He's on the rig, and he's running, he's busy drilling, and the helper's fixing his supper, supposedly. While his supper's cooking, he's busy doing other chores. And I could hear this funny sound. It sounded like like a metallic clinking kind of clink, 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 clink sound. And it caught my attention. I turned and I looked at that coal stove. And here what this fella had done is he had a can of beef stew, okay? Not this brand. I'm covering the brand. Some of you will probably guess the brand, but it wasn't this brand. It was the name brand. And most people will know which brand that was. But it was the exact same size can as this one, okay? You see the size of that can? Well, when I looked at that coal stove, here's his can of stew that he's going to have for supper. It doesn't look like this. That can of stew was about that big around. And it was round. And it's on top of that stove shaking and going clink, 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 clink. It looked almost as big as a soccer ball. And I yelled at Pat, our driller, I yelled at Pat, get down. And I jumped off the rig and just got around the corner of my water truck when that can exploded. That driller's helper was screaming like a cat covered in gasoline with a match to his tail. That hot stew blew over everything in that rig shack. It got him on the one side of his face and on both hands. It was everywhere. Everywhere was beef stew. I've never seen anything explode like that in my life. And after that incident, fortunately, he got burned, but not severely burned. He didn't end up with any third-degree burns or anything. Where he's really lucky is that he didn't get hit with any of the metal, with any of the shrapnel off that can, because what it did was it peeled the base of the can. Finally, the seam finally gave way, and it peeled the base off, and it blew up the side seam, so that it was all shrapnel. And that thing bounced off of 3 walls about 5 times before it stopped. But he found out the hard way. Now, oddly enough, when we told folks down in town what happened, a lot of the old timers told us, oh yeah, I've seen guys stick a can of beans in the campfire and have it explode in the campfire. That's not funny. But you can't help but laugh. Yeah, there she blows. And we would do that to that guy for about a month after that. every once in a while, when he's not paying too close of attention, I'd walk over to that coal stove and I'd take a wrench and I'd clank it on the stove, so it's kind of made that tinny clanking sound, and I'd yell, "There she blows!" that driller's helper, that boy, he'd belly right out on the drill rig, scared to death that there was another can exploding. But there you go, there's a nice story for you. For crying out loud, I don't know why this guy didn't do it. Punch a hole in the top of that can, or at least take the lid off before you heat that over a hot source like a coal stove or a campfire. These will explode, and make sure they're vented before you heat them. So there you go, a short little nice story. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see what else I can pound out today. You guys have a very nice day. Bye-bye.